And if people want to stretch their legs, you can walk up to the computer up front and fill out your Twitter and delicious and email accounts so that we can circulate that list among the participants.
Yeah.
It's on the PC, which is on the right table.
Yeah, you can use that one. Yeah.
We are publishing on a regular basis in journals about
That's a smaller community. But if you really want to share pictures and make it retrievable, no, this goes a little bit and you see that it's still loading the picture to be sent in Twitter too. And of course I want to show you also how you can make it smaller, the resolution of a picture. But I use a different system than the Windows system, so we should have it on our Windows if we want to show it to other people. But this is, so you need to have a profile in order to submit it to a social media platform and to send it through other people. Yeah, that was quickly. I don't think we should wait more on this. Yeah.
Then we have a question. We like to do we like to combine two things now, or maybe even three things. One is something you asked for yesterday. We promised to do today. We didn't do it today, so we're now going to do it, and that is introduce ourselves at the end of the conference. But we're going to combine that with, and I'm going to give you two assignments, so you have to think about it. Firstly, think about how you would evaluate this conference. So, what did you learn? What did you miss? What would you recommend us to do in the next setup? And secondly, how do you think you are going to apply what you've learned in your day when you're back in your own institution? How can you benefit, or how can your peers benefit from what you've learned? Yeah. So I will probably ask people to come up here and briefly introduce yourself, you and your organization, then briefly tell us what you think about what we've done until now, and after that tell us a little bit of how you think you can apply what you've learned when you're back in your own institution. Now, this is always a very difficult part of the conference. So I'm looking around and trying to see if there's anybody who wants to volunteer to be the first one to introduce himself. Well, we have one volunteer already, so can you please come up and
thank you. Good morning. I am Rahat Bhai Tuhin, lecturer in environmental science, Independent University Bangladesh, Chittagong campus. My fields are mainly public health and disaster management. So first thing is, this was something I think this was long overdue, this conference. I mean,
was long overdue?
Yes, because I myself I knew these things were there, but I never could work up the courage. Plainly, I was lazy about this. I knew about them, but I didn't know. But I didn't quite get myself to log on and use them. First thing I would do that I think the biggest problem in my institution is that one department does not know what the other department is doing, or maybe the teachers in one department do not know the teachers of the other department. So what I think I would first like to do is use these tools and maybe set up a link between all my departments. So that if we may not interact face to face, but we can at least know that who is doing what. And another thing we can do is we can expand our own collaborations. I mean, we're always communicating with scholars over email, but I think email has become too common nowadays. You see 100 messages, you'll delete at least 60 without looking who sent them. Yeah. So I think this offers a more personalized way of communicating with would-be collaborators and would-be colleagues in other countries. But I think, the biggest, I don't see any big problems with this. Maybe only that people will say that, oh, why do we have to do this? We already have email and Facebook. It'll just take them a little bit of convincing. And one thing I would suggest, if we could have a follow-up to this conference, maybe a few months later.
Okay.
So that we could, maybe we could explore a few advanced options. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Well, we're sorry that we were overdue, but at least we tried to stimulate the discussion in this country now. So I'm looking for the next volunteer. Who wants to be the second person over there? Well, you first. Ladies first, I would think.
Thank you. I'm Farjana Akhtar. Actually, I'm doing my PhD in Aalborg University in Denmark. And actually, my topic is very much relevant with social media because ICT for development. Especially, I am looking for the rural development. And when I submitted for these participations, I was planning to do some field work in rural area in March, and that is related to BRAC social development program. And I have been doing some work with regional sector specialists. And that March workshop plan I have already planned, but after coming this conference, I realized that means Twitter can be used for that workshops.
So very practical.
Yes, very practical use. Actually, I'm very much focused about that means how they can make their collaborations and connectivity more potentially. And but previously I didn't use Twitter. I used always LinkedIn or Facebook. But I think it's very specific. They can use some messages and connections for that their social development purpose. So it's very practical use. I think so.
Okay. So yes. you learned from this conference?
Yes, Twitter actually. Many of my colleagues they are using, but I didn't use. Okay. I used LinkedIn or very earlier, but I didn't use Twitter. But this hash provisions actually is nice. Yeah. They can use for a specific task. For a specific code, they can use for a specific message. Yeah. So it's very much relevant to their works because they are actually doing some information dissemination works. Yeah. So it's very much efficient for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The third one. But you were already a sort of an expert, I remember, from being in your group yesterday.
Thank you. My name is Mohakhali. I'm from Onkur. It was a volunteer organization, now a business. an NGO. We have been working for ICT development through localization of softwares, open source softwares. We are doing for those people who cannot read English. I've been using social media tools for long. I don't know if there is any tool to know when I started my Twitter account. I think I would possibly the first or second in Bangladesh. So I've been using the social media tools for several years, if not a couple of years. And I know I have benefited from these social media tools. I get to know things, I got introduced to peoples that I never knew of. And there's hashtags, like today you told you, the power of hashtags. I've been using those, Dare to Ask and other hashtags. I've benefited from this. So this is very good initiative from Focus.Info. The thing I never knew. Yesterday she was taking a workshop. I have been Nokia 3110C. I always thought about my mobile. It's a damn bullshit. It's nothing can be done. But yesterday, when she told that realize the power of your tools, for the first time I used my mobile to take pictures and to take video, and instantly uploaded those video. And on the very next minute, 3 or 5 people overseas liked that video. Even I received a mail, someone from my community asking to arrange a similar workshop for them. So it was the power of the tools we've been using day to day. So this is my feelings that actually this workshop was overdue. And we realized, and I realized that in my organization there are 18 people working. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'm going to take a workshop like this all day long. The power of social media and knowledge sharing. Thank you all.
Well, thank you very much. And I know we already learned something from you also in the work that I was in. So thank you very much. And maybe you should be a little bit suspicious about Anya promoting Nokia, because she comes from the Nordic countries and Nokia is doing not so very well at the moment. So no, but looking for a fourth volunteer. You want to be the fourth one? Yeah.
Good morning, all of you. Myself, Bishwajit Shaha. I am assistant professor in a government engineering college in Agartala, India. Especially, the title of the conference attracted me to be here. That is developing research infrastructures through social media. And of course, by means of this social media, virtual infrastructure development as well as the specific agenda, that is knowledge sharing, how the knowledge sharing and the resource can be utilized by means of social media, that is well understood. And although I am a user of different social media sites, but by attending these workshops, the effective uses and so many facilities, so many options, that was well understood by attending these workshops. And of course, the foremost things, the interacting with so many personalities of different corner of Bangladesh as well as from the outsides. So thank you all, as well as special thanks goes to the organizer for giving me an opportunity to be here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much also. For next person. If you don't volunteer, I'm going to just appoint people, but then we have
Robin Bastula from Nepal. I'm working as National Coordinator of Water Sanitation and Hygiene Resource Center Network Nepal. So it's a long name, WASH RCN, and being hosted by one of the member organization, Environment and Public Health Organization, ENFO. So we basically do knowledge sharing on water sanitation and hygiene. So it's evident that how important is social media to share knowledge among colleagues, among professionals, and among other people in the community as well. And I also do lecturing in one of the colleges on environmental management. So this conference has been very important to me because we were discussing on organizing similar kind of workshop in Nepal as well, and this has been very useful to me. And at personal level, I was using a couple of social media tools like Facebook, Twitter, but now I am confident that I can use that in one platform and I can save my time. So TweetDeck is one and iGoogle is the other one that I am very convinced with. So I will switch on to iGoogle and TweetDeck rather than using lots of social media that consume lots of my time. So hopefully I will utilize my learning from this workshop to organize similar kind of workshop in Nepal, and hope that the WASH community, water sanitation and hygiene community, will benefit from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go.
It's Mizan from DNet. I'm working here as an assistant director, and I'm still doing my master's in Dhaka University in development studies. Actually, I'm habituated with doing research, and as you all know, that DNet is a pioneer organization in Bangladesh which is trying to make a peace between the researcher, policymaker, and between the research materials and the policymaker, the research knowledge. And for this reason, I was very much fascinated with this workshop, that there is a bit collaboration, there is a bit similarity in our working areas, so that we can facilitate, we can make sure that people are very much habituated, people are very much familiar with using research knowledge. And that is why we frequently want to use this sort of social media, but actually I was very much unaware of these sort of facilities that we have learned here. And actually I found LinkedIn as a very much proficient and very much useful for building a very strong network. And I am habituated with writing some articles, and with these sort of things I try to build up my network as well, and my organization is hopefully doing well. A few days earlier we were in a workshop, that is IK Material workshop. It was with IDS, perhaps you know, and in that workshop we wanted to build up a network only for knowledge sharing. And here is a similarity, and we all believe that we will be able to extend it further if we work collaboratively. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I ask?
I was familiar with all these tools before coming to this program, but I used to shy away because I thought they were for young generation. I'm too old for it, and I didn't have time to maintain a site like that, so I never really bothered. But then when I was invited to attend the conference, the title intrigued me because it said that it could be used for research.
Yeah.
And I'm a research-minded person. Sometimes I write, I do independent research, and I publish them in a traditional manner, online and in paper publications. But then I thought that how can this be used for research? So after attending the program, I got a view that how it can be used to interact with other researchers around the world, so which is indeed a good idea, which I didn't think of before, so probably I'll use it from now. And from an organization point of view, we don't do any internal research much, so I'm the only individual probably who does some research individually. So I don't think my company will benefit much from it, but most of our colleagues there do have Facebook account. Probably if I have one account, then I could link myself with them. I don't know if it will help, but I could try that. And Twitter, I think in order to use Twitter, I have to get into some kind of revolution to get use of it, because I've seen this being used in Egypt and some of the Middle Eastern countries is still being used, and the governments are quite afraid about this tool, I guess. So there is some strong challenges that probably the governments will face if there is a revolution and these kind of tools are used. But since I'm not thinking of a revolution at this moment, so I've probably still away. But for now, I think LinkedIn and the Facebook and some of the tools that my other participants talked about will be useful. So thanks for the opportunity for bringing me here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I haven't had anybody of the last... Oh, you want to be the next one? Okay. I hope you will all volunteer in the end.
Good morning, everyone. I have actually several affiliations, but for bread and butter, I have been attached with ICDDRB. You might have heard the name, that is the International Center for Diarrhea and Disease Research. But unfortunately, I do not have any opportunity to use these kinds of tools in our organization. Because lots of people, as I said yesterday, that in my organization lots of people abuse these tools, and that's why the management have blocked these tools, most of these tools. But I have heard the benefit of these tools from